Out of respect, please turn off all cell phones and remove all hats. We'll have a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. And is anybody recording out there? Okay, we have one over here on the two over there. Okay, all right. Let's stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Okay, my board of directors have gotten the Directors Workshop meeting on February 2nd, 2021. Is there any additions or alterations that need to be made to this minutes? No. Okay, then I would like to
make a motion to be accepted as read.
I'll second it.
seconded by Rosemary Vestiri. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
This is too early in the morning for me. Right, we've got some correspondence. Request from the men's club to have a garage sale. Rich?
Oh, yes, sir, thank you. Thanks, Mr. President. The men's club would like to have a garage sale outside. If we go back to the old days of the swap meets, everything would be outside in the west parking lot, which is right out here, 9 to 1 o'clock, April 17th, April 24th will be a rain date. There'll be food, hot dogs, hamburger serves, water and soda will also be there for the men's club. And in the clubhouse here, coming up a week or so, they'll be posted about the tables. $10 a table. There'll be only white tables outside, no dark tables, only white. The rain, we don't want to ruin anything, the white can handle it. So with that in mind, the men's club will take care of it. And this will put things back into perspective again with the garage sale. Residents only, no outsiders. Residents only. This garage, to get them out of the house a little bit, go out and enjoy themselves on this particular day. I'd like to make a motion to approve the men's garage sale on April 17th, 2021, from 9 to 1 o'clock in the West Parking lot.
Do I have a second on that?
I second it.
Is that Millie seconded. All in favor by saying aye? Aye. That's unanimous. Okay.
Rich, how much were the tables, please?
Past $10? It's fine, $10, no change.
Okay, and then we have a correspondence come in at the last minute, and
Board of Directors from the Brookridge Pickleball Club. We request modification on the tennis pickleball court to include 2 dedicated pickleball courts along the 2 dedicated tennis courts. Pickleball is a growing internationally recognized sport both at tournament levels and recreation play. It is similar but not identical to tennis and badminton, both in rules and court layout. Court size is the same as a badminton court. Pickleball has enjoyed an estimated 385% increase in numbers of places to play since 2010. Pickleball is a fun, hybrid game that appeals to millions of people of all ages and performance levels. There are currently 3.3 million players in the United States alone. Pickleball is currently enjoying a soaring popularity. At Brookridge, we have 2 dedicated tennis courts with permanently fixed nets and court lines laid out. Pickleball courts are smaller and 2 pickleball courts can fit into each of the tennis courts. The pickleball court lines are overlaid on the tennis courts, and we currently use portable nets to play on the tennis courts. We can set up 4 courts. The result is only one or the other sport can be played at the same time. There's 2 exhibits here. Exhibit A shows the court configuration. Both Exhibit A and B are to scale, and the paper itself is the existing fence line. Each square is 4 feet. When we play pickleball, we unpack and assemble the structure, tubing, and netting. The portable nets are flimsy, difficult to keep at the court tension and height, and in a moderate wind will blow over. At the end of the play, the nets are disassembled and put away. We are requesting modification so that each board has 2 dedicated courts with permanent outdoor nets, posts, and lines. Exhibit B shows the possible layout to achieve that configuration. It is a win-win situation accomplished by simply moving the courts closer together. Then both tennis and pickleball can be played concurrently. No court expansion is required. Cost would be much less than installing separate dedicated pickleball courts. Most developments in our area have dedicated pickleball courts. High Point, our nearest similar community, has 4 dedicated pickleball courts and 1 tennis court. If the board decides to pursue this proposal, we request to be part of any ad hoc committee to investigate the addition of dedication pickleball courts in Brookridge. Doris Green, President of the Pickleball Court. Welcome.
Okay, we'll move on to the reports, President's report. Good morning. Wow, what beautiful weather we have had the last several days. It was a good sign seeing residents out working in their yards, taking long walks, and getting out in your golf carts, taking a joyride, and enjoying yourself. The days are getting longer, and don't forget, March 14th is the start of daylight savings time, so we can all spring forward. Also, a big applause goes to Carol Webster, our GM, for working so diligently with the health department and setting up with the health department getting 500 doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Carol spent many hours working on this project for the residents of Brookridge. A lot of the work was done on her off time. It was a very successful day. Thank you, Carol, very much. The board would like to remind the residents that if you find that you need help with projects around your house like pulling weeds, etc., call your unit rep or fish and let them know what type of small jobs you have that you need help with. You can find the contact information in the news and views. Concerned residents have approached board members in regards to a piece of paper and a letter that are being distributed through our community stating that if you don't vote for these 4, your HOAs will go up $150. This is totally nothing but a vicious lie that is being put out to scare residents into voting for those 4. Please take time to carefully select the candidates you feel are in the best interest for this community, and don't let this threat scare you when making your choices. This board has heard rumors that we were considering a management company. This board has never considered hiring a management company to run Brookridge. This board has been for saving the residents money and keeping our HOAs as reasonable as possible. Another rumor we hear repeatedly is out of control spending. If this board spending was out of control, then how were we able to accomplish making up the deficit for the year 2019 and we are in the black over $100,000 for 2020. And we did not move funds around in the reserves. According to our bylaws, voting ballots are required to be mailed out 30 days prior to an election held in Brookridge. The ballots were in the mail in accordance to our bylaws. We have heard people saying that the ballots were to be in the mail January 20th. This is not so 30 days prior. Each month in the News and Views, there is a page titled Reminders from the Association. These are informational and safety topics that are beneficial to all the residents. If you've not read them lately, please take time to read them, especially 6, 7, 8, and 9. Number 7 and 8 pertains to walkers and bicycles. These tips are for your benefit to make your walk and bicycle rides safe for all. Residents, if you have not completed your ballot and dropped it off at the administration office, please do so as soon as possible. All ballots must be received by 4:00 p.m. Monday, March 15, 2021. Ballots received after that time will be voided. Thank you very much. Okay, General Manager's report.
I have just a couple things. The vaccine site went well last week. We had a few hiccups first thing in the morning, and there was some confusion because the health department scheduled another vaccine site at High Point the same day. But we were able to work everything out, and the rest of the day went smooth. I would like to thank Captain Schubert, Vince Pizzo, and Patrona Thurman for all their help. It wouldn't have gone as well as it did without them. And just a quick update on the website. I met with the webmaster regarding our new website, and I should have a mock-up by the end of the week, and hopefully we'll have a new website up and running shortly.
Thank you, Carol. All right. Unfinished business done. The new business request for the men's club. It was on here twice. We've already taken care of that. Report of directors. Millie, do you have anything? Rich, do you have anything to report?
No, nothing, excuse me. Nothing for the, board, because the board, I will be doing with the social dance people after the meeting. If in your news and views, you have a whole page on people helping people, news and views. And there are 2 boxes here. One is in the back clubhouse, and one is over in the administration office. They're looking for items to feed the kids. So I have a presentation to do after the meeting to the people helping people to be here, present them with a check. So if I'd like to stay after the meeting, please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Millie?
Okay, just for your information, our ad hoc committee for the roof has met now twice. We will again be meeting this Friday, getting all of our information together with Chairperson KO, for consultants to look at this roof and see the best way to go. So we're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. Rosemary, do you have anything here?
The Music Airs is planning on having a virtual concert on March 19th at 2 p.m. Plans are tentative at this time, but we would like to have this virtual concert. It's a spring concert with Broadway shows, and there are about 13 or 14 of us that will be singing that afternoon. So it will be on TV. We are thinking about possibly having residents come in, but we haven't finalized that yet. But hopefully we can, so you can see what this group has been doing for the past 9 weeks. So at least watch it on TV.
Thank you, Rosemary. Ann?
I want to start with the dumpster trash. Again, we have someone throwing trash in the dumpster, mattresses, food. We cannot, get rid of that because the dumpster is for the clubhouse, excuse me. Also, in case you folks don't know out there, there's a camera, and they're gonna go through this camera looking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to see who, made the deposit in the trash. So be aware. Also, this Thursday, the 4th of March, 9 to 11, COVID testing. March 24th, everyone who got a vaccination last week, that is the second date that we will be getting the vaccination. You will not be getting a call. You got that little card, and on that little card, it says the date. Make sure you fill out your name. Some of them are not filled out with the name. Someone, and I don't know the lady who sat across from me in the downtime, she said, once you get the second vaccination and that card is, legal, get it, laminated, and keep it with you at all times, like you keep your driver's license, because it proves that you've already had the vaccination. Okay, well, I had some stuff I wanted to talk about, the vaccination. It was phenomenal. Our GM did it, as you all know. As Mark did say, she did a lot of this on her time. It is not her job to get us that vaccination. And I want everybody to realize that she got us that vaccination, 500, for our community, for our people in our clubhouse. We didn't have to go any other place to get that vaccination. She did a great job from start to finish. I'd like to thank all the board that helped, all the residents that helped, all the managers that helped to make it run smoothly. I don't know about you folks, but I'm pretty proud to be part of this team, that we got this going. Not one resident did I hear complain. That in itself is a miracle in this place. So I think we need to give her another round of applause, everybody.
Okay, Mr. Bruno.
Yeah, just something quick. We're still receiving every day, problems with the RVs. That's what they have done, what they've done in the past. The problems are coming in daily. We're trying to deal with them as they come in, the general manager and myself. We're doing the best we can, to square away the problems that we're having down there. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Danny. Okay, that's the end of the director's reports. Now we'll open the floor up for member comments. Yeah. Take my glasses off so I can see everybody out there.
Good morning.
Morning, Sandy.
Vivian Blair, Unit 4. My question is for Rich on the garage sale. Is there going to be a table for DCPO, like, so I can donate something for DCPO so they can sell it and collect money for it? Is there going to be a table like that?
Yeah, we'll get Vince to give you a room again, you can drop it off, it'll be a donated table. I ran that table last year, and we gave away a lot of stuff, some things I made $1, just to get rid of them. We got rid of everything.
But you made money. Thank you very much.
For the club, we give it out, yes.
Thank you, Vivian. That was a good question. Okay, Gail. Good morning.
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. Can you hear me okay with my mask on? The RV Compound Beautification Committee and Code clubhouse wish list are extensions of the. Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. The RV Compound Beautification Committee and Clubhouse Wish List are extensions of the DCPO, so they would not have their own EIN numbers. The checks must be made out to the DCPO. If the donor puts one of these names on the memo, they have earmarked it specifically to that group. The DCPO cannot legally charge that money for anything else. 2, the RV compound, the horseshoe, shuffleboard, bocce ball, and tennis courts, pool, and clubhouse are community amenities. It is Brookridge policy that all amenities are free to the membership. The only reason Article 3, Section 2, to charge a fee for use of the community pool is in the deed restrictions. It is because it is an amenity for which the membership is not charged, but allows a charge for renters and guests who do not pay an assessment. This is why it is illegal to charge for the compound without a deed restriction amendment. The board did move funds around in the reserve at the end of 2020. Mr. President, and shifting of reserve funds was not voted on at a regular meeting, and the membership was not informed before you made this decision. Can you report at the next meeting on the changes in the reserve account? 4th, it was strange that there were around 900 votes cast for this budget, especially in a year with no increase. I've checked with residents who have been here over 20 years. Never has there been 600 total votes for a budget. There was a strong suggestion called vote stacking, which could possibly account for that many votes. This is when someone checks the voting list, which is public information, to see if people have voted. Those who have not voted in the past 3 years most likely vote in this election. Therefore, someone could take those votes and use them to their advantage. This is called voter fraud, and it is a criminal offense. I seriously hope that if this was done in November, it will not be done in this election. And one final thing to Mr. Bernier and Ms. Bernier and Mr. Bruno. When you were appointed to the board, when did you get your board certification and how did you complete it? I got my board certification and completed it on November 11th of 2020. Thank you.
I also received mine just before November.
Okay, did you do it online?
Online.
Okay.
So why is this so
Would
important?
you like to see the certificate there?
No, that's
Okay.
okay. It was a question that had come up, and so people were afraid to ask it, so I wanted to ask it. That's all. Well, can I ask you why the question came up about 2 board members taking that certification? Because.
Nobody's speaking up.
She asked why only Ms. Bernier and Mr. Bruno were asked. It's because you were appointed, and people had questioned that. I know it's 90 days, so that's why I wanted to ask the question to clear up any, and to clear it all up.
And if anyone would like to see the certificate, we'd gladly show them.
No, that's not me. I trust
Well,
what
you
you
can
said.
tell officials, whoever wants to know.
We have them, anyone wants to see it, we'll bring it to the next meeting.
Okay. Vince is in your way, but come on up.
Teresa Glassmeyer, Unit 3. I would like to request that the board, when they are speaking, to remove their masks. It's very difficult for the people at home that can't make it to the meetings to hear through the TV. I've heard this from about half a dozen people, so I would request that the board please remove your mask when you're speaking into the microphones. And that includes the general manager also, which she did. And then also I would like to request for the board to review the interest that they receive on their money that we get. There's a lot of money. $1.8 million, I think, was on the last Treasury report that I saw. And the interest was like $20, I think. I just think that maybe the board could look at some ways to further invest the money that we can make a better profit on what we do have that's available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Anybody else? Yes.
Donna McGuire, Unit 3.
Speak up, it's on, I believe.
Okay, Donna McGuire, Unit 3. I just have a question. The ballots were mailed out. I received an email saying that I was to vote electronically because I had signed up. I went down to the office because I only received one email. And the girl there said to me, I signed up in 2016 to vote electronically. I tried to explain to her that every single year, for every single vote, my husband and I received ballots. I wanted to be taken off the list, and she said I could come back March 1st and get a ballot. Well, lo and behold, guess what I got that afternoon? No, my ballot. I'm just curious as to how many other people this happens to. Is there a way to vote electronically and again physically?
No, there is not. But did I understand you correctly that you and your husband vote?
Well, we get one ballot,
Okay, thank you.
but we only have one property, so we only get one ballot, correct?
Correct.
Just making sure, because rumor has it that people are voting more than once, husband and wife, and they only have one piece of property.
Well, the rumors I really wouldn't listen to, because when the ballots
I don't know whether
come,
it's a rumor or whether it's true. If you try to ask anybody, nobody wants to address the subject. So that's why I think rumors are running rampant in here, because nobody will speak up and say,
You can ask me anything, anytime.
okay, I'll have your number on speed dial. Thank you.
Oh, we get him.
Arlene, can you explain a little bit more about this electronic balloting, please?
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so the electronic voting is through a company called Becker Ballot. Typically what happens is if a person wants to vote electronically, they are signed up. Some people are already registered. Once the voting opens, the portal opens, they do get an email from a gentleman named Brett. And it basically says your community's voting is open, so then you go on there and there's the ballot. It's just like a paper ballot, but it's online, you can vote that way. If somebody is not already signed up for electronic voting, then they fill out a form, we print a form off the computer, and then we send it back to them, typically it's by email, they can sign it, and then that particular document gets sent to Brett, the same gentleman from Becker Valley. He then sends an email to whoever this person is. I use the Campbells for an example, so they'll send it to the Campbells, and they'll say, you signed up for electronic voting, here is your link, and then once they click on that link, you can do your name, I believe, or email, and a password as well. Then they will get the same thing that says, here is the portal, you may vote. As far as people voting twice, well, if you have 3 properties, of course you can vote more than once. It's 1 per lot. But we do have checks and balances in place. We do have a list that gets printed, everybody in the community. Then when probably about twice a week, this gentleman, Brett, will send over a list of everybody that has voted online. And what we'll do is, again, I'll use the Campbells because they've been helping out. they go over the list and they say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Walls have voted, and it gets stamped, voted online. As far as the paper ballots, when they come in, it is the same thing. Up on the top, it has your name, address, etc. And then also on that same list, we have a stamp that says voted. So if we say, okay, Mr. Bruno voted, we take the stamp, or the Campbell will take the stamp and stamp it. So if somehow they get 2 votes, there is a check and balances, and they'll say, no, this already shows the person voted, we will not accept the second ballot. Just like if you voted the county. When you voted the county, you have to sign in. You can't sign in more than once because you have to show ID. So that's basically the Rita Sargent's version.
Thank you, Arlene, for
Thank you.
explaining that. You did a much better job than I would have done. Okay, any other? Yes, ma'am.
I hear you, I hear you.
It was on.
Ellen O'Shea, Unit 4. Just a personal question. If you sign I'm hearing you here, if you sign the consent at the office to vote online, it's my understanding that you're supposed to get an email shortly after that. So I signed up 2 weeks ago and haven't gotten anything. Can I change my mind and just vote on paper ballot now? I can. Okay, thank you. I don't know why I didn't get it. It's a little concerning. I know things.
Okay. That gentleman in the back there. You want the mic brought back to you?
Please.
Okay.
Jim Snyder, Unit 4, Chairman of the Beautification Committee. I recently went to the office and looked in the beautification file, and I found 2 checks that were supposedly dated May the 21st and May the 17th from the Espositos and the Turpins. I requested a accounting from the office of the year 2020. These 2 checks were never deposited to the beautification account. I also found an envelope down in the bottom. It was a pink envelope from Helen Newton. I gave it to the general manager because I couldn't get an answer from Helen Newton. That was dated July of 2020. I found out that Helen is now in a nursing home. I don't know what happened to her $100 check. I hope it was taken care of. But these 2 checks have to be donated, put back in our account. It's $400 worth. I have the numbers of the people who donated, and if it's not in our account, I will call them and tell them that their money was not allocated to the beautification group that they requested it be put in. It's not fair that we lost money because of it. We try to keep the community up with planning and stuff. We don't get $400. Where are we going to get the plans from? Are you going to buy them for us, Mr. President? We'll gladly go buy them and send you the bill. You got $400
All right,
money.
Jim, that's a no.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. And the thing is you've got to remember, we were going through a time that when the bookkeeper was working from home, those checks might have gotten misplaced. We don't know. It's just something we'll look into. If you'll give a copy of that to Arlene, I will find out and I will get back with you when I check with our new bookkeeper. Right. So if you would give those to Arlene.
Okay, I'll give it some in a little bit.
All right, thank you. Anybody else, please? Jack, you had your hand up for a couple times.
Jack Radio, Unit 4. This goes to all of the board. So this goes to the board and everybody else here. This is a question to the board and bookkeeping. July 15th of 2020, the office was closed for several weeks due to COVID, so no dues could be paid. July, August, September, and October of 2020, we did not receive a late notice for dues owed. October 26th, I applied for a board position. October, November, and December of 2020, multiple times the Brookridge computer system was down, as was published in the News and Views. So what was my real dues invoice? November 13th of 2020, per the office, our dues were paid for the second half of 2020. I have receipts. December 14th, 2020, Mark called and asked me to sign a document saying that my dues cannot be 90 days late, and I signed with the December 14th date. December 15th, I was called back to the office to sign using the date that I applied for the board, and by using that date, our dues were over 90 days late, according to the office books. November and December of 2020, I could have applied again for the board, and my dues would have been paid in full, according to the Brookridge invoices. I have the receipts. January 8th, the office wanted me to sign paperwork saying dues still had not been paid. Yet my November 13th receipts showed the dues were paid. January 19th, the office printed invoices showing me that we still owed late dues fees. I sat with the bookkeeper 2 times to review her data versus data given to me in November, and I had to work with her for 2 more times to correct her own bookkeeping records. So I was prevented from running for the board because of your bookkeeping records. So I'm a businessman. I charge $55 an hour. I had to go 3 times to work with your bookkeeper. I'm going to be submitting a bill for $165. All right. January 20th, 2021, I got a bill from the Brookridge lawyer, Peyton Bowling. And then October 20th, at a board meeting, I spoke for Ron Ross because his wife was having surgery. I noted then that the board states that members can only speak for 3 minutes and only on agenda items. Yet Florida State Law, the 720 Statute 213 says rules where a member or a parcel owner must be given a minimum of 3 minutes on any item. So I asked for an interpretation of that statute. What I got was sent copies from the lawyer and from the board of the same statute. No explanation. What I also got was charged $50 for asking the question and $75 for her answer, which there was no answer. All you did was send me copies of this. So why should I pay $125 for no answer? The board didn't answer me, the lawyer didn't answer me because I'm not a board member. So no answer and $125? So what I'm gonna do is I'll submit my bill for $165, and you wanna charge me $125, you still owe me $40.
Did you have any authorization to call an attorney? Did anybody on the board give you authorization?
In the paperwork that was sent to me, I believe maybe by Mark or somebody within the board, had the lawyer's email address on it. It was her information. You didn't answer the question. The lawyer didn't answer the question. So who's going to answer it?
The lawyer did answer the question on that, those pamphlets that Rich and I put out there on the other table. And it showed everywhere where a member can speak at a meeting during a board meeting on agenda items only. It states at 14 different places. It was all printed out, wasn't it not, Mr. Stratton?
Yes, it was. I'll state it for you right here. The rules governing the right of members to speak may require in order to submit a written request to speak prior to the meeting, and the rules must permit any parcel owner or member to speak for at least 3 minutes on any item. 213, right here.
You sure it doesn't say agenda item?
I'll show it to you right here.
Because my book says it. Go ahead and flash.
Any item. This year, the latest version. So I understand what you want to do and limit what the items are that you need to speak of. But the laws say one thing, and you're stating another, and that's what I asked for clarification on. And I didn't get it.
Okay, I'll get you that pack because I had everything together. I think I sent it to you in the mail already.
All right, Mr. President, I'd like to just, say something to our residents. When you say board, is there anyone in particular up here? Is the whole board, you're blaming the whole board, one of us or all of us? How do you address when you say the board?
Who sent me the email? Or who sent me the letter? That's in the mail.
Well, I know I'm part of the board and I didn't.
You weren't there when this came up.
But they're always saying the board, the board, the board. It's residents, because we're all in this together. We don't like to see situations, we like to, when the residents come up, state whatever is the problem so that we can try and help you out, and help everybody out. But when they say quote unquote, the board, this is the board, but who is it in particular?
Well, the information came from the lawyer to somebody. I don't think it came to Vivian or Arlene
No, and that's.
or the GM. Did it go to Mark? He's
I-
the president of the board.
I just take, and don't take this the wrong way, I take offense when a resident or anybody gets up and says, the board. We're the board, but a lot of times we're not involved in stuff that is out there. The board, the board, the board.
There wasn't a cover letter that said, coming from such and such a person on such and such a date. It was just
No, I
pages of
understand.
this
And
in an envelope.
I understand your concerns, and you do have a concern. Yes, you do. You're welcome.
All right, anybody else? Yes, Mrs. Did anybody else?
Thank you. Vivian Blair, Unit 4. This is for Arlene. Could you clarify for me, please? We have 2 properties. We did get 2 votes. What concerns me is in our reply where we put our ballots in, they both had our home address, not our home address and our other property. I just want to make sure that those 2, you don't say, well, this is a duplicate and throw one away because it's got the same address. Is it on your list that we get 2 votes? Could you clarify?
Yes, absolutely, of course. That was a very good question. Again, on the list that we print out, if somebody has 2 properties, 3 properties, it is listed. So it will have your name once for the one property, have your name again for the second property, etc. And also, I don't know if anybody noticed, we didn't do the UBLs this year, but on the very top of the envelope, there is a little number that has like 322, 325. So we can see that way that it is, yes, 2 separate ones, or 3 separate ones, depending.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Good question. Yes, sir.
Eric Olson, number 4. That letter you had talked about in the beginning, about the security, somebody bringing in security, I did hear somebody from the board, I mean, not you guys, but somebody talking up there, that, they were approached, their family member was approached that owned the security system, that somebody talked to them about bringing them in.
I know that was a member that had no authority to do so.
I'm not talking about the one that wrote the letter. I mean, I read that letter, and that letter doesn't, it said if one came in. It's not that it's coming in, if one came in, it would be raised another $100. But there was a group over here that they're all sitting, talking, and one of the people said that his cousin was approached about this, about bringing in the security system.
Do you have a cousin, baby?
I didn't ask if he
You
had
can
a
rest
cousin.
assured we're not
I
gonna
said
guess.
somebody out there said his cousin, somebody in the community, I'm not gonna
Right,
mention it.
somebody in the community, I had 3 members approach me about bringing in an outside security firm. And I let them come to my office, talk to me about it, and the conclusion was, if we hired an outside security firm, they can't do no more than what our code enforcement does. So why bring somebody in and pay more money?
I agree with that. Second, why isn't there any radar out here? I mean, when last year, year prior, they always had the radar sitting out here to slow down people, and it was working. I've been back since January 1st, and I haven't seen one person sit out there yet taking the radar or anything. I mean, did they eliminate this, or?
No, it's not been eliminated. I've seen them out there.
Is there any type of record showing that these guys go out there and that they are stopping these people?
Yes, he takes,
I mean, I'd like
the
to-
radar
I'd like
guy
to see the record.
well, they record everything they do when they go out.
Okay, because I haven't seen anybody out there taking radar. No, and a lot of other people haven't either.
Well, I was gonna talk to Mr. Schubert about that and get it beefed up anyway.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, Mike.
Mike Green, Unit 6. Glad to hear about the website coming back online. Having 40 years IT experience, I have a couple of questions. One, the responsible address for Brookridge.com is now todd@pcmillion.com. Why isn't this a Brookridge.com address? It should be reflected to somebody internally. And also on the DNS records, we're not listed as an admin contact, nobody is. If someone like PC Million is tech support, they should be no higher than a tech contact for the domain record. And also on PCMillion.com, they have a mock-up of the Brookridge.com website. They seem to have a lot of internal information. They have photos, they have a copy of the calendar, but on their amenities list, they do not list the RV compounds.
Todd@pc.com is the IT person that's dealing with Brookridge right now. What he did was he put the old website was brought down, so the new one is set. General manager is just fine tuning it now. That's the only reason why you're getting that on your PC right now when you get up that info. He's well aware of what's up there now and how it's gonna be done. Once this is all done and we own the domain, we never owned the domain. The last general manager made sure of that. So we had to cancel everything that he did to bring it back to Brookridge and not his own personal domain. We had one hell of a time trying to get that. So now that we brought it back to Brookridge, we are gonna be owning it. The website will be done by our general manager, and all your answers will be answered, I'm sure.
Okay, quick question. Who is paying for the domain?
Brookridge.
Then Brookridge should have just sent a letterhead stating the situation that this domain, all this information needs to be transferred over to.
The last general manager had 12 emails associated with that domain. Each one was separately and on different routes, different IPs. So therefore, we couldn't take the control over it. So we had to cancel each and every one of them down the line and switch them back over. So now they're all deleted. He has no
answers at all come back. Now it's gonna be strictly, Brookridge.
Okay, just, like I said, just my experience, I just want to make note because that's what happens when places
Correct. I do.
use an IT site as their
Correct.
domain administrator.
Just like when the RV compound made their own website.
All I mentioned was that
Well, he used
on the list,
he used Brookridge, properties and all our pictures and stuff. He used our forms. Wrong. That's Brookridge. It's not theirs personally. I hope I've answered your question.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, yes.
Brenda McMahon, Unit 6. I have sent several messages to Carol about the message that comes from the Brookridge website. I've been getting emails since November about the emails that come back from the information.com. I sent them in and showed where it showed that the RV compound was listed as an amenity. You're telling me you don't have access to the website? Who went on and changed that letter and took the RV compound off?
We have the tech person, the engineer, take it all off. Let me just explain something, very simple. Do you know the explanation of an amenity?
I know when I bought here, then I'm not gonna argue with you then.
Okay, well, Brenda.
So I've been asking, Dale, I have been asking, nobody has ever showed us a piece of paper that shows that that is not an amenity.
An amenity isn't free.
I don't care.
Well, then I'm sorry.
An amenity is what we signed up for when we moved in here, 2 years ago.
Do you have something to say at this meeting? How come they're allowed to back talk when I'm up here
Well,
talking? I'm done.
thank you. Okay. Did you want to come back up, sir?
Brenda. Can you people please behave when you go?
Okay, Rich has a, thing that he wants to present to somebody at this time.
First of all, during the meeting, first of all.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Do I have a
Second.
Hold on a second. Rosemary wants to say something.
Teresa, are you still here? Good. You asked about, getting better rates, interest rates. When I was treasurer, and Rich can attest to this too, we are always looking for banks that will give us a better interest rate. This is what we do as a treasurer. Sometimes we have banks that call us and say, hey, I got a great rate for you, do you want to sign up? So this is how we get our rates. Right now, you know, the rates are in the cellar, and we're trying to get better rates. So this is how we do it, and we have to go by what the bank is giving us at the time.
Right, and we'll call banks also.
I'll back Rosemary right now. What I do, and she's out here, the banks right now with the COVID-19 going around, they're not doing too much with the interest rates. There's some taking things right now. That's what they're doing. If you ask me a question with a bank, I'll give you the name of the banker and the phone number. That's what I do. I research all the way down. You want to know the truth? Some of these banks, there's dead people still on the bank account. Dead people. Is that fair? I'm sorry.
I just think that, there may be an opportunity, in a CD or something like that, that's all I'm asking, is that, due diligence.
Yeah, we do. We've got several CDs, don't we, Rosemary?
Yes, we do.
Yes, and then the governor is trying to pass something now to where, HOAs can invest in different things in the stock market and so forth, and we just gotta wait till that comes through, and then we'll probably get an ad hoc committee on that and go from there.
Before you close this meeting, Vinny, you need to understand what an amenity is. Don't let me speak.
An amenity is something that is given to the people. And I explained to you, I was on this board for 3 years and I read all of our documents. The compound, the horseshoe, shuffleboard, bocce ball, and tennis courts, pool and clubhouse are community amenities. It is Brookridge policy that all amenities are free to the membership. And if you look at deed restriction, Article 3, Section 27, it says to charge a fee for the use of the community pool. That is an amenity. An amenity which is free to the membership because they are charged an assessment. Thank you.
Now, another thing, Gil, you gotta realize this came from your favorite attorney, Steve Messer, that I got the letter. Did it not, or? All right. Okay. Lucille wants. All right, just let Lucille speak and then we're gonna adjourn. She has the right to speak.
Lucille DeGuire, Unit 4. No, okay. Lucille DeGuire, Unit 4. I'm not gonna go with anything Gail says. I don't need to add anything. I'm speaking about the interest. When Rosemary explained last year or the year before, I forgot what. When you look at 1 month's interest, it doesn't mean that's where it's at. There are banks that pay interest quarterly, yearly, so forth. You have to look at the final of the year and what the interest is in total. Is that correct, Rosemary? Thank you.
Thank you, Lucille. All right, I got a motion on the floor that we adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second? Second by Benny Bruno. All in favor by saying aye. Aye.
Let's not leave, people, hang on a minute. Let's not leave. Hang on a minute. We're not done
Yeah,
yet.
Rich has got a presentation to do.
Yes, it is. Sure it is.